Hello everybody, it's Graham here. Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 6, Living Through Cancer. Right, I did promise you a little bit more about my next phase of my hospital visits, which is the biopsy. You know, the biopsy that is really quite intrusive, and it's something that, you know, I would not want to do again, but hey, you know, it's one of those things that you have to do, and it gives answers, and it gives a very clear indication and a diagnosis of exactly what is happening with your prostate and the cancer in your body. But before I go on to that, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. You know, I know it's quite early in this on my channel, and do remember I have an episode where I cook for the family and cook lovely meals for, you know, sometimes £7. The real nice big dishes are up to £10, but that's a family of 3 with leftovers. So if you're enjoying this, tune into the cooking side of it, because it's great fun. So just a big thank you. So listen, when we got through the first scan, and there was now clear diagnosis that cancer was there, and it was quite aggressive, but we didn't know what level, because it had come out of the prostate and it was spreading through other areas, and it was very, very close to the bone, which opened up a whole new, you know, set of questions and answers I needed to seek. You know, my wife was very calm, although she will admit that inside she was literally, you know, a nervous wreck, because anything that involves cancer and it's happening to your nearest and dearest, it literally shakes you to the core. And that process of diagnosis, but then well, we need to know how severe it is a time where you know, it's not an enjoyable time. It is a time that you gather as much as you can to understand it, but it's a time where you're still nervous of, you know, is it going to be 5 more years, or is it going to be 25 more years, or is it going to be a couple of years? You know, and I know it's hard for me to break it down into those terms, but that's what it is. Every normal person will just simplify everything and go, how much longer have I got left? You know, I need to plan things now. You know, I need to, you know, establish my time left on this earth. But it's not just that. You have to be very mindful of the people around you, and that was one of the things that I, to this day, I'm thankful I was steadfast in. I did not want to change my daily routines. I did not want to show weakness. I did not want to show that I'd given up, rolled up on the sofa, turned the Netflix on and wrapped myself in a blanket. That's not me. I didn't want to do that, you know, and that's half of the reason I did not tell a whole host of people. You know, I told a very small circle of people that we do speak to on a regular basis, and that was it. You know, I've got an extended family of where I live, but I couldn't bring myself to talk or, you know, acknowledge to them that I had a diagnosis of an aggressive prostate cancer, because I didn't want the fuss. I didn't want people, you know, having to feel obliged that, you know, there was someone who was ill and sick, and I just wanted to carry on as normal. but deal with this thing growing me the best way I could, knowing that there was treatments and the prognosis was good, depending on what level of aggression the cancer had. Now, bear in mind, I already knew it had actually come out of the prostate and it was spreading. But, you know, hey ho, you hang on to the hope, and, you know, let's see what the next stage brought. Now, that next stage was the biopsy. So about 3 or 4 weeks later, we got the appointment for the biopsy. And bear in mind, I didn't know really what a biopsy was, certainly not one of the prostate. So I hurriedly went on YouTube, watched a tutorial of what it is and what the procedure is, and thought, oh well, this is going to be new. This isn't something I've not experienced before. And but it will give me answers, and it will give the hospital answers that they needed to really diagnose and sit down with me and say, look, this is what you've got, and this is how we're going to move forward. And the reassuring thing is that once I'd, been labelled with that cancer, I knew there was a whole new family out there of people who, have cancer, prostate cancer, men. And one of the big things that it does to you, it robs you of your physical stance. It doesn't just take the psychological structure away from you. It takes your physical manhood away from you. Because once you've been diagnosed and, you go through that, this is the treatment. This is your treatment plan. Radiotherapy, and then you go on, or you start the tablets before you have the radiotherapy, and then you progress after the radiotherapy onto injections, hormone injections. And that is one of the biggest things I'm actually currently struggling with now. It's the hormone injections, quarterly injections. They do explain an awful lot for you. They lay it out, they give you booklets, they give you, whole heaps of information. And, they make it very clear that there's groups and talk groups and all these other things that will help you come to terms. And I love that word, come to terms with it. I was starting to come to terms with it, when I stepped out the GP surgery. How well I came to terms with it is a whole different way. But the bit about the biopsy was again another journey up there. And again, we knew a bit more about the whole cancer, and we ticked certain boxes. Now, me and the wife, we were talking about it. We had a bit more information, and we're starting to piece together how our lives will change, for better or worse. But we were going to go through this process. And I remember one of the tutorials I saw, and I remember it saying, depending on how aggressive it is, it's a 5-year treatment journey. And I thought, God, how am I going to do this for 5 years? But there's something in your brain clicks over and says, yeah, you'll be all right. You're going to do this. And you'll have people around you who are going to help you all this. And there was degrees of calmness. But every now and again, something will pop up or a trigger would happen that would send the alarm bells running through me like you wouldn't believe. And our family is set up in a way that if I'm nervous and if my family sees me, panicking or starting to break down a little bit, it's like dominoes for them, that they feel it as well. So, the biopsy was something that was coming up, but will give us an awful lot more answers, but we weren't sure which way it was going to go. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on the next episode. And I'm loving this, talking about it and having someone listening. Thank you so much, and see you next time.